Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I know I am. If not, that really sucks. I hope your day gets better. Anyway, let's get into the story about this Karen freaking out. So like I said, this is about a Karen that freaked out, and there's a lot of backstory to it, okay? Let's call this guy named Edwin, okay? Me and Edwin were pretty good friends, alright? We were best friends. We played high school football together. Sorry, not high school, elementary school football. Okay, and back then, you can't really catch a ball that well, especially when your hands are like half the size of a football. So I'm basically playing hot potato over here. I'd have a ball thrown to me, I couldn't catch it for the life of me. Alright, I look like Helen Keller over there trying to find water because I was tired and I didn't want to get speared anymore. If you don't know what spearing is, it's when a kid puts your head down and runs into you, which is horrible. Alright, because if you grab their head and throw it down, that's a penalty. Anyway, so I went over to his house a lot, alright? And Edwin and me were really tight because we played football together. We both sucked. We both bonded on the bench, alright? We were part of the Red Dot Club, a Red Knee Dot Club, which means if you sit down on the bench long enough, you get that little red mark behind your knee, and you're known as the Red Knee Dot Club. Anyway, so I went over to his house a lot, and this kid was dumb, okay? I'm not the smartest person in the whole entire world, and I'm definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed, okay? But this kid was dumb, like super, super dumb. Like, for instance, one time I went over to his house and we went swimming, alright? And he had a pool, he had like one of those out of ground pools, and it had a shit ton of bugs in it. He's like, guess what? I'm like, what? He's like, you can kind of breathe in the water. Like, seriously. So I'm like, no, you can't. It's water. You can't breathe. He's like, watch. So he puts his head and he barely puts it in. He just covers his nose and his mouth, and he goes, and you can hear the bubbles go through. He goes and stands up. He's like, see, I could hold my breath longer. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I kind of try to drink it, and then I put a bunch of pressure inside my head to turn it into oxygen, and now I can breathe underwater. I'm like, okay, do it again. So he goes and does it again. I put his head down. Maybe not the nicest thing in the whole entire world, but, I'll get into some context on why he did this. Alright, and so he was obsessed with Disney, alright? Just like an overweight woman who loves secret Disneys, alright? Just like this lady. And like I said, I went over to his house quite a bit, alright? And he was obsessed with Disney, alright? It was kind of creepy at this point because it's like, we're 9 years old. I mean, come on, man. We should be growing up and loving WWE, okay? I mean, WWE is honestly the best. Anyway, so every time I went over to his house, I'd fall asleep. Like, well, I'm about to fall asleep. I'd be laying in his like bunk bed because he had a bunk bed even though no one slept in the same room as him. Like, I was the only person that ever went over to his house and actually used his bunk bed for the proper purpose. So he was on the top bunk and I was on the bottom bunk, and his mom would literally just kiss me on like the forehead. And if you're 9 years old, that's basically smashing his mom. Alright, I'm not gonna make up anything, but pretty close. And my friend Edwin was a horrible person, alright? I'm not talking about, oh, he's a bad kid, he'd bully people. No, he would literally put on Hulk gloves as a 9-year-old and beat the shit out of his sister. His sister was like 3 years younger than him, so she's 6 years old, just kind of walking around, trying to explore life. Every single day she wakes up, goes to her playroom, she's having fun. Him, he's like, no. She'd play with Legos, he'd just start Hulk smashing it. And this Hulk smash gets pretty important in a second, okay? And so he just starts smashing her Legos. He starts punching her. His dad came and said, what the hell is going on? He's like, Hulk smash! He runs over to his dad, tries to like punch him in the balls. His dad already knows what he's about to do because he does this a lot. He's put his hand in front of him. This kid, he's a wonky fellow, okay? Edwin, I wish it got better for him, but it didn't. Alright? And so, eventually, after being his sister for a little bit, trying to attempt to beat his dad, he would pretend to he'd pretend to be Hulk, and he'd literally just start punching drywall. Like, not putting holes in it because he's 9 years old, but he'd just start punching walls, start knocking stuff over, yelling, I am Hulk! I am Hulk! And he'd try to punch his mom. He wasn't necessarily the best kid in the whole entire world. Alright? But one day, I go over to his house. This is a separate time, okay? And his mom's like, hey, are you guys hungry? I'm like, yeah, I'm hungry. Oh, let's go get chicken tenders. And his mom was a Karen, alright? She was kind of nice. But listen, if you're any other race except for what I am, which is a gringo, also known as white, she didn't really mess with you too much, alright? So we went to a gas station store, and it was a nice one, I guess. I mean, it wasn't in the hood, but I mean, it was, I guess, a normal gas station. We go there, we get two chicken strip pieces each, and I get two like giant ones. Her son gets one big one that's a little bit bigger than mine, and a smaller one. And all of a sudden, she's like, "Wait, why is yours so small?" And she just starts freaking out on the guy. She's like, "Why would you give my son a smaller piece of chicken when there's a bigger one right over there?" He's like, "I don't know, I just grabbed it." He's like, "I want to see your manager right now, or else guess what I'm going to do?" He's like, "What are you going to do?" "I don't know, but you're not going to like it there, mister. I'm going to call your mom." He's like, "What? What do you... I'm 24 years old and you're going to call my mom?" "Yeah, I go to church with her." "Yeah." He's like, "What's her name then?" She's like, "I'm not going to tell you. Well, I don't have to explain myself to you at all. But guess what? Guess what? I know her, and I'm going to tell her at church." He's like, "My mom doesn't even live here. My mom still lives in Mexico. What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, I go to church with her. I'm going to tell her everything." Anyway, the manager came over. All of a sudden, he shows up. He's like, "Excuse me, man, what's the problem?" "Oh, your son, or sorry, your friend, or whoever, your employee, guess what? They gave my son a smaller chicken strip." He's like, "Well, there are smaller ones and there's bigger ones, alright? It just kind of is what it is." "I don't care. I want a bigger one right now." He's like, "You know what? How about this? We can make a little arrangement, okay? I'm going to kick you out of the store, and you don't get anything, okay? You paid for yours, leave." She's like, "I'm not leaving." And as soon as he pulled out the phone, it's like, "I'm calling the cops if you don't leave." 3, "How dare you count me down?" 2, she just left. It's like, "I'm sorry, boys, but we need to go." "Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, son, that I couldn't get you a bigger chicken strip." And he didn't deserve a bigger chicken strip because he beat the shit out of people with Hulk hands. Alright. And eventually she drives over to my house to drop me off. And we're having a little bit of a both ways play date. Alright. So she's talking to my mom about, "Yeah, here's my parenting style. I think it's really good. Okay? And I think my son should be as creative as possible. That's why I let him bring his Hulk hands." So he brought his Hulk hands, and all of a sudden he sees my cat, and he starts chasing it. Alright, my cat is very fast. One of the fastest animals in the whole entire world. Alright, you think that your dog's faster? No, my cat's faster. You think you're faster? No. He could beat Usain Bolt. Alright? Maybe not. I don't really know. But my cat's pretty agile and pretty fast. And he starts chasing him, trying to hit him with his gloves. He throws a glove, and one hits my cat. I was like, "Dog, don't throw it at me." He's like, "You're going to be next if you don't shut up." I'm like, "Okay, how about we go skateboard, okay? We can go skateboard at my neighbor's house because there's a giant hill. We can have fun." It's like, "I've never skateboarded before, but I see Tony Hawk do it all the time. I don't know why I can't." I'm like, "Yeah, we can just ride down." Because I used to ride down this hill all the time, right? This is what I did when I was 9 years old. I just rode my skateboard up and down the hill. Pretty much like sledding, but without the snow, and it hurt a lot more when you fell. So, we finally get up to the top of the hill, and I show him, "Yeah, you can either stand," and he watches me, or you can sit down, and he watches me slide down on my butt. I actually almost hit a homeless guy because he's riding down a giant hill on a skateboard on his butt. Yeah, I actually almost ran him over because he was coming at me while I was going the opposite way, or I was going at him and he was coming at me, and we almost ran into each other, but I had to swerve out of the way, almost clipped a car on the other end, but I didn't, thank goodness. Thank Jeebus. Hallelujah. Anyway, so this kid sits down on this. He's like, "Okay, how do I stop?" I'm like, "Just use your feet, alright? It's not rocket science, just use your feet." And this kid's an idiot. Alright, a complete idiot. Alright, so all of a sudden, he goes halfway down this hill. It's not a giant hill, okay? It's probably 300 feet long, maybe a little bit less. And all of a sudden, he gets down to the very bottom. He's like, "How do I slow down? Ah, 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 Hulk smash!" He grabs his hands and he literally punches the concrete and scrapes his knuckles against the concrete trying to slow down. I don't know what the hell this kid was thinking, but this kid is an absolute idiot, okay? And I don't know if you guys know this, but with your knuckles hit the concrete and you scrape it against the concrete, you're not going to slow down much. It's just going to hurt your hands drastically. Alright, you guys ever ride your bike as fast as you can and drag your shoe against the concrete? Well, he was doing that to his hands. So all of a sudden, I'm looking, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I just hear him yell, ah! Turn into, ah! And he starts bawling his eyes out, okay? He starts freaking out. Why would you let me do that? This hurts so much. And his knuckles are messed up, okay? You can almost see the bone. Alright, I'm like, why would, I told you to use your shoes. Like, Mom. And my mom and his mom are outside just kind of talking. They're not really watching us, but they can hear us if one of us yells. And so his mom runs over saying, what happened? My baby, what happened? I'm like, he punched the concrete while skateboarding. Why would you let him do that? You're such a bad influence. And all of a sudden, my mom's like, what? No, what are you talking about? What actually happened? I'm like, well, we were going down the hill, and all of a sudden he was like, Hulk smash! Because for some reason he thought he could slow down using his hands instead of using his legs. And I'm like 9 years old, so I'm just like spilling this out of me. I don't really know how to put this in the proper words, but I'm like, he went down the hill, and then he tried to punch the ground, and then he hurt his hands, and then he started yelling at me. Then his mom started yelling at me, calling me an accident and a mistake. And my mom's like, I think it's better if you guys just leave. His mom's like, yeah, I think it would be better if we leave. Have a good day. And so they leave, alright. And on the way out, she starts freaking out, saying, why, I can't believe you. Are you okay, baby? She sees the garden gnome that's kind of in her walkway. She grabs it, slams it, breaks the garden gnome. I don't know what the hell he did it, okay? He was chilling from Gravity Falls. He's probably eating a Pop-Tart. Alright, he was going to go back from the Pop-Tart mine, go talk to his family, and he's going to go protect them. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is a little bit longer of a story. Like and subscribe if you made it this far. It's the least you could do. I'm making a shit ton of videos.
Yeah. My dad used to say, whatever is whatever. Never may be never, but it's ever.